Hello and welcome to another video in my C Sharp Basics series. Now, in this one, as always, go ahead and follow me on GitHub, visit my website, and email if you have any questions. So, in this one, we are going to talk about methods. Of course, by the time we are now in video number 21, these are short, sometimes long videos where we have already been using a lot of methods. Methods which are already provided by C Sharp. For example, in the previous video, I was talking about string methods, where you use the replace method to replace a specific character with another character. So those are methods that are given to you from a library or some package that you installed, and so on and so forth. Now, obviously, in your software, and I'm sure I mentioned this also, most of the time, your entire developer life would be about using ready-to-use methods to get the job done. But you also have to write your own methods as well. So I would say the ratio of your own methods and using other methods would be about 70-30, or 80-20, with 20% being your own methods, and then the 80% is ready to use methods available and just calling them constantly with specific values and stuff like that. And you'll see all these things in action. Once I finish the basics series of videos here, I'll be moving on to some project development videos as well, so it is coming. But now in this chapter, I want to sort of go a little bit deeper. By now, you would already be familiar with it, because a lot of times in the videos, I would have created a function or called a function. You know how it is. So in this one, I want to talk about, the methods that you write, either in classes or directly in your main program.cs, and so on and so forth. Now, when it comes to methods, there are four things that you need to understand. One first step is where you define a method, where you write the function, you give it a name, you decide the parameters, and then you do what is supposed to happen inside the method and let it be. Now, that method could be inside a class. We'll talk about classes in future videos. And then it could be about or just method directly in your program.cs. Trust me, not every time you will be creating classes. A lot of times when I'm learning new things online, I will just practice in console projects. A lot of times you can just practice and you don't have to create a class every time. It's good if you do, but not really necessary, because the ultimate goal is to learning. But when you work on projects, yes, you have to define classes. Most of the time you'll be defining interfaces and implementing them, but we'll come to that later. So now that's the defining methods. Calling method means you have a method that has been defined. Now remember, when you call a method, it could be a method that you wrote yourself, or it could be a method from a library or something like that. So either way, you call these methods, and when you're calling these methods, you have to pass the necessary parameters. Like, again, whenever you use a built-in method or a provided method from a library, IntelliSense will try to help you, AI will try to help you, so you always know what parameters you have to send. And if the parameters are custom types and so on, you can always go to Microsoft Docs or Microsoft Learn and find out more information about the types and values and properties that are available for a specific custom class from a specific NuGet package or a library. So those are the parameters. And then finally, some functions do return values, sometimes some functions don't. Again, we are going to talk about return value. So here it's easy enough. So these are the four main concepts. So let's go ahead and try to look into that. As always, the link of the example code is in the description. So let me create a folder project here. This is about, what is this called? Methods. Yeah. Okay, there we go, .NET 8. Okay, all right then. So now what I want to do is I want to go ahead and define a function. So what I want to do is I want to create a function which will take a sentence and then print it so many times. Okay, so let's say if I say a sentence called I am Batman, and then I say 5, then I want I am Batman to show up 5 times. So I'm going to say I'm going to say public void. I don't want it to return anything. We'll do return later, and I'm going to say print 5 times. Why not return something anyway? Might as well cover everything in a single thing. So I'm going to return a int. Okay, so I'm going to say here, I'm going to take a string message, and then int count, and here I am going to say okay, and I have to return, I'll just return 10 just for the sake of it. I think I don't need to do this public here. I think it's in console project, it's a default public, so that is fine. There is a green line here. That's probably because I haven't called it. It is declared, but it's not called. So that's fine. We'll fix that. So now what I want to do is, there are many ways to show something 5 times. So, but I'll use a for loop. So for int I is equal to 0, I less than 5, semicolon, I plus plus, and then I am going to say console.writeLine message. So 5 times. Actually, it's not 5 times, it should be less than the count. I have a variable called count, so I'm going to use the variable count, and here I'm just going to return 10 just to show that you can return a value. So now let me go ahead and call it. I'm going to say print 5 times, and the message is going to be I am Batman, and then here I want it to show 5 times. That is all I want. So if I run this project, there you go. Now here let's look at this. So I have the the body, the definition. I am calling the function. These are the parameters, these are the arguments. So I have the parameters. According to the parameters, I'm passing the arguments here, and then they reach here, and then I'm able to use it and get some stuff done. And finally, I'm just returning 10 just to show that you can return. Now here, remember, like whatever type you're returning should match whatever type you have as the return type in your function. So if I run this, there you go. Hello world, I am Batman, 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 Batman. That's 5 times. So if I call it again with another message, let me say print 5 times, hello and how are you? And if I just go crazy and I say 100, then obviously the message is going to be printed 100 times. There it is. I can make it better. Like I can actually add something here. I can do something like this. I could say okay, just to make the output a little bit better, I could do, there we go. Okay. There we go. So I have a counter as well. Now the counter is starting from 0. I don't want it to start from 0. So what I could do is I could go back and I can use like curly braces, and I can add a +1. So it looks more natural, like instead of starting from 0, which is, I'm not saying that's unnatural, but in real life, you don't start counting from 0. That doesn't really add up. So there we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And so if I want to, I can do some more things like, okay, all right, I say I can put it like console.writeLine, and I can say total of, I can say, okay, and then I can also try to make this a little bit more attractive. I'm just doing something just randomly just to show the way code just normally evolves over time. So there we go. See, so I have like a divider or something. It looks a little bit nicer, and then I'm like, okay, hello world, and then I say I'm Batman 5 times, total of 5 messages displayed, and then I put a divider, and again I show at the end I put like a summary, total of 100 messages displayed. So there you go. that is really all you need to know about methods, defining methods, calling methods, parameters, and return values. So of course this is not all there is to it. Now once you start working on projects, you have to, for example, you might be dealing with asynchronous methods, in which case you can't just return a data type. You have to wrap it up in some kind of a task object and stuff like that. All of that we will see. Like right now, as I said in this series, my plan is to put like a foundational framework in your head. And of course I'm using this, all this code is coming from a course, the free code camp course. So obviously this is not my syllabus, and I'm just using their syllabus. I'm just borrowing their syllabus. So obviously a lot of people much smarter than me sat down together, probably a team. It is free code camp, one of the bigger learning brands in the world, and of course Microsoft was involved as well at some level. So obviously they know what they're doing. So these are the foundational knowledge which they include in their syllabus, and I'm just following the syllabus along. So anyway, that's all there is to it about methods. So remember to define method, call the methods, parameters, and of course return values, and that's where we are going to stop for now. I'll see you in the next video.